Hello and welcome to Capsule Preseason Week 4. I am your host, SD, with my co-host here, DoorGuard.
What's going on?
And here we got our special guest for the week, BroBot Anthony.
Hey, what's up?
Now that we have introduced ourselves, shall we get moving on to the matches?
I'm ready
Let's go.
whenever, brother.
Alright. So, first match here, we got Royals and Sentai just going for a few moments. Videl just doing nearly 70k to both Ginyu and Seiman, nearly taking out the both. It's really enjoyable. And then the tag game between Birder and Jace just going from a deficit to a comeback. That was a really fun match to see. Not so fun if you're a so-called baby of Vegeta, but BroBot, what do you think about this match?
Oh, this match was great. It was interesting how Videl did really well this season. But last season, she was struggling a lot. And it's always nice to see Sentai pull out a win. They're always the underdogs, but I like to root for them, you know?
So, DoorGuard, what do you think about this match?
It was interesting to see. Pretty tame performance by Metacooler and Deborah just doing their 40. Obviously, Videl popping off. Very strange to see Baby Vegeta, considered one of the better of GT, who's loaned right now to do kind of minimal. But it's always good. I know Jace and Birder have been characters that have been immense struggles for Sentai, especially last season and during the off season, trying to make sure that they just don't suck all the booty. So, very nice to see their characters working well, doing the tag game, basically doing everything you'd want out of your team. And yeah, I mean, it's just a good time when you, all your hard work's pulling off, which, I say that, and I think they spent more tests on Saiyaman than anyone else, and he struggled. So it just be that way sometimes. You only can get some people to pop off sometimes.
Yeah, but honestly, those Birder buffs really helped him. He did more than Videl this week. Videl's been popping off with those rushes.
Birder's been great all testing and off season. He's been a menace.
Just gonna have to see how he does in the main season. But with that, shall we get moving on to the next match?
Yeah,
wanted to shout out to a couple. I mean, obviously Videl using Dragon Power, Lesser Seen, Patara, and obviously Birder using Indomitable Fighting Spirit, which I think only Krillin is using otherwise right now. So it'll be interesting to see. Both teams have been very experimental with builds and trying out some other Pataras. It'll be see what ends up in the main season. What do they kind of rely on? So looking forward to it.
And here we got match 2. We got Hybrids versus Namek. Honestly, it's starting off really well for Namek here. Tambourine just taking it to Kid Gohan and just pulling a swing on the match. But one of the big moments here is all the tagging from Namek and King Piccolo launching about 3 ults until he decides, you know what, screw it. We're just going to go full power and launch a Your Name is Drum. But Namek did not lose a single person in this match, while Hybrids, they tried their best, and honestly, it's quite fun to see Sword Trunks be the basically MVP for Hybrids this week. So, BroBot, what do you think about this match?
This match was really interesting because there was no super OP standout character. It was all Namek just tagging a lot, which was Kaiju's MO back last season. So it seems like Namek want to go 6-0 again this season. Start out the league right.
Go the undefeated team.
Right?
Yeah, it's certainly something that can happen. DoorGuard, what do you think about this match?
And I think it's something Namek doesn't do too often is the tag game, so it'll be interesting to see if that continues or not. We know Late Piccolo and King Piccolo have been ones that love to tag. King Piccolo always seems to go, I'm running out of Blastox, refresh, and Late Piccolo goes, 1 bar is too little, I'm out, you guys take over. But I would say Hybrids didn't do too bad. They had a few tags, but unfortunately, Future Gohan, who's really stand out last week in preseason week 3, struggled a lot today. So it's, that's just always unfortunate when you have, a little more volatile performances on your characters. So feel a little bad for that, but at the same time, they didn't have Ultimate Gohan, who's become a big threat again. And Teen Gohan, while doing 54K, felt like he was a little underwhelming. Like he just kind of had random bursts of offense and then lots of downtime. So there's a lot of scary stuff that's coming out of hybrids. And obviously last week with the late Piccolo deciding that, Cinema doesn't deserve to be a team anymore, I think it's quite easy to say Namek's shaping up to be a scary team with the season starting next week.
Yeah. And just to give a little bit of shout out to Patara usage. One Patara that you don't really get to see used too much. I forget the name of it, but Kid Gohan was using, which increased his passive key to 3 bars instead of 2.
Unleash Latent Power. It's an interesting Patara series.
Costs 2 points. There's all kinds of funny things.
Yeah.
It's not one you see too often, but one that can be used.
It basically turns you into an android, kind of.
Well, it's more like, as just a base synopsis, every character has a few, it's kind of whatever their cheapest B2 is, so it's usually 2 to 3 bars that auto-regenerate. Latent Unleash Latent Power 1 adds 1 more, 2 adds 2 more, and 3 adds 3 more, as the title suggests. So the idea is, if you want characters to have more bars passive regen like androids do, androids basically have 5 bars always passive regen. So it's just one of those that kind of fills in that spot if you want to go more that route, but it does lower your active charge. It doesn't make your active charge useless, just it lowers it. Some people are like, it's kind of a big if. Do you want to have your characters charge slower but have better passive charge, or this or that? It gets kind of crazy. But yeah, certainly something interesting, and I know they've been testing a lot of that this last week before all testing ended. And then if Namek, they just go, oh, that looks like a nice build. Snipe! So be careful with Pataras you make good, because they'll make them good as well.
Sometimes make them better. Late Piccolo. But going on, shall we move on to the third match? One of my favorites.
Yes.
If we have to.
Don't worry, DoorGuard. We'll get to you soon.
I don't know, man. You do you.
My personal favorite this week, of course, since my team, we got match 3 here with Kaiju versus Cinema, leading off between the 2 imposter Gokus. Which one is the real Goku? But Bardock, Turles going at it. Fasha actually being taken out really early after only doing 2 bars in Nappa. Hold on. Oh, I needed to cough.
That's what that was?
Yeah, that's what that was. I thought I
Alright, so we have a new host, BroBot Anthony. What was your favorite moment of the match?
It's sad to see Destiny died on the cast, unfortunately. We'll have a eulogy for him later.
Yeah, someone please make my grave. But again, Fasha doing only 2 bars to Nappa before launching out on ult and then getting ulted right back by Scouter, and then the match just turned from there. Second for Frieza just popped off. So, BroBot, what was one of your favorite moments from this match?
There were a couple. I really enjoyed Frieza, doing his thing. I'm glad to see that he's getting some love. But I am saddened of the lack of Monkey in this match. A lot of ape transformers, but not a lot of apes. So
we did see one
next
ape.
time. We did see one,
but sadly it was versus the wrong opponent who has the H-back in Japanakora.
Not enough ape for my taste.
Yeah, still a lot of hair.
Still a lot of hair.
But DoorGuard, what do you think about this match, knowing your views?
Lots of people on Cinema die. That was kind of fun, as always. There's some good stuff. I think a lot of people were not expecting Turles to do as well as he did into Bardock. Yeah, he did eventually go down, but he managed to hold his own for a decent bit. Obviously, second form Frieza did very well, and I don't think anybody ever expects a lot out of that form. It's just one of those, when you have like 7 forms, it's hard to say this is this form is going to do super well or not, especially when there's another form already in the league. The team that controls the forms went, hey, we want to do this form instead. So, always very interesting in that sense. But I think overall it was a good match. You had, minimal fascia exposure in the match, as well as just straight up Janemba not being there, as well as Garlic Jr. Two of the characters probably considered some of the stronger ones. And on the same side, you had, more standard kind of stock out of Kaiju. They didn't have King Vegeta or Master Roshi, basically the guy that they tend to bench and the free agent. So it seemed like, you couldn't really tell what was fully going to happen. It was going to be an interesting match, nevertheless.
Yeah, I was honestly I was satisfied. Also a little bit unsatisfied because I was expecting an ape fascia, the most unique out of all the apes. I think except for Baby. But yeah.
I would believe you, but you didn't put Dragon Spirit or Secret Measures, Kibito Secret Art, so you didn't really want to try.
No Master Throw either.
Yeah, there's no Master Throws for ape throws, so you didn't really try per se to get some ape stuff. You just kind of were like hoping it would happen anyways. So
and
call you out on that.
You gotta make your dreams come true, Destiny. You can't sit around.
Alright, when Super 17 Elite then.
Just you wait.
But
due time.
Do we really have to get on to this next match here?
Yeah, we can do it if we want.
It's even worse than this
I know,
one.
it's so bad watching Rugrats matches. I'm very sorry. I tried to end it fast.
Yeah, going on to match 4 here, we got Rugrats versus Boojin. Starting off with the Boo Killer, Cyberman, and then Evil Boo. Evil Boo does not want to take it. And doing his 80k, launching Q Kamehamehas, and actually seeing his ult, which is one we've seen a few times, but not really a lot. And then, honestly, two of the other big moments here were Kid Boo, not really. He came in and did what he normally should do, which is come in and ult, but didn't hit. And then, at the very end, the god himself, Spopovich, just taking it home for Boojin, causing them to have the win. BroBot, what do you think about this match here?
Normally I'd skip these kinds of matches, but I decided to watch this one. I'm happy that, Cell Jr. showed why he is the son of Cell. He is amazing. Best on his team, no cap. I'm happy for Boojins. They got God of Destruction, Spopovich working for him. And they've shown that they don't need Kid Boo to clutch out all their wins. They can have, all their characters do their part somewhat.
It seems to just take Evil Boo to Kid Boo to do less than 10k for everyone else to do almost their 40 or more.
Had to put the fear in them, right? Make them perform.
But DoorGuard, what do you think about your match?
Pretty well. Obviously, you never know when you have Spopovich in. Certainly was not expecting Kid Boo to get trashed, but he went up against Kid Trunks and such. It's always a hard time there. Just a very strong character. Funny enough, I think, base Kid Trunks and Kid Boo doing the worst in this match is kind of hilarious when you look back at our playoff match last season where they both put in some of the most work. So just one of those strange times, strange eras at the same time. I think Cyberman almost took out Evil Boo, took him down to a bar, and Evil Boo basically did another 40 off, hitting like a 20k ult more than anything. So it was maybe more of luck than anything. And Majin Buu got half his damage off having a super +2 ult hit. So half his damage wasn't even like him actually dealing damage as much as just dealing one big ult and kind of just holding on to do enough after that. But obviously there was no Aurelie, who most see as a terror and kind of a melee threat, certainly something that a lot of people struggle against. And while I know we're not going to see much of Chaozu, is still a free agent out there, and Gotenks was also kept under, where they did bring out Gotenks in playoffs against us. So lots of still, undetermined, unseen eras of what they can bring out. So this isn't too definitive, and there might have been some test builds. But overall, yeah, pretty decent match. Obviously came down to the wire at the end. Spopovich had about 30k to do, and he almost screwed it up because that's just what he does.
Two things.
You know, he's just teasing you, man.
Two things.
Yeah, if he could take off his arm and shoot at Gatling, maybe you'd have a little better time.
Just give him the Hellstorm. But
I'll trade you 4-bar B2 for 4-bar B2. I get Hellstorm, you
Nice.
get fall over tackle.
You know what? I'm down for that. Let's do it.
All right, can we trade B2s next season? Someone put that in the suggestion chat.
Yeah, but two things I did want to ask is that you guys normally start Spopovich for Bujins, and you guys didn't this time. Why was that?
We've been trying people in every position. I have to see where other people will go. Also, I was kind of half expecting some BS like Aurelie to start or Goten to start, and I haven't had my melee, when I put my attack plus characters up front, they don't do too well into Goten or Aurelie, especially Goten. Goten attacks very fast, is very good to coming into B2s. Obviously Aurelie has ping, which is just kind of combos itself in there. So it's just one of those, I had to pick who kind of to put up front to deal with that, and putting probably one of my most consistent characters up front was pretty much my only way, besides putting Kid Buu up there with no savior, which kind of defeats his build a little bit. So I was focusing very much more on the how do I not lose this match off the first pairing. And also they tend to have Cell Jr. a little further back, and I think in testing Spopovich has gone even against him, so I was trying to pair him up against his most likely matchup, albeit still a very coin flippy one.
And then one other thing is that Spope has deserved himself the attack +2 now. It's taken off of Buhan.
Well, Buhan wasn't in, so might as well try it out. He has a late energy, so it's not like he always has a defense minus, and he has neutral defense anyways, so he kind of sticks with it.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad idea to try, and hey, starting Evil Blue caused him to have an 81k performance, so you can always be happy. But with that, shall we get moving on?
Sure.
Guess we should at some point.
Here we go with match 5. We have Earth Defenders versus Derp with mid Vegeta, and the Vegeta to start. Mid Vegeta being one lately that hasn't been starting for Earth Defenders. It's only been the Goku or the Krillin. Base Vegito taking it to Vegeta, but Vegeta this time doing more than like 10k damage, which is really nice to see out of him. Nearly killing Vegito again, but Vegito ends up being able to tag, and honestly the match takes a swing when I think the Doria goes down to Goku with a base Goku ult, just a big giant spirit bomb, always nice to see.
Bomb.
He didn't want Dodoria in this world anymore. And mid Goku comes in, Hercule comes in the exact same time after mid Goku takes out or after Hercule takes out Goku with a Present Bomb. And then it's just really a spam fight. And also a more melee fight at the end, but hey, first week we get to see Kui, and honestly I don't think he did bad. He just did the health that he needed to, so yeah. BroBot, what do you think about this match?
This match was nice. It's good to see base Vegito showing up as an FA for how expensive he is, and Derp getting some nice W's, especially since last season they didn't do the best. Hercule showing how much of a monster he is in the B2 game. No one else can touch him. Unfortunately for mid Goku, he kind of was on the brunt end of that. On the ED side, everyone's looking pretty solid, honestly. They're a scary team as a whole, and someone to look out for.
But yeah, I agree there. DoorGuard, what do you think about this match?
Your GIF sucks. Not sure why. I can tell you. I'll blame it on BroBot though.
What's wrong? What's wrong with it? Tell us specifically.
It's hard
BroBot.
to find base
It's like the
Vegito
same
GIF.
one as when he was against me.
No, it's
It's
no,
Like
it's,
3 milliseconds later. Uncreative.
Well, you know, it's not his
It-
fault the Boo saga didn't have many memorable moments. They're
It's
not the
not a
androids.
problem.
it's hard that I don't want to bring Vegito from Super because I don't want to see Super Saiyan Blue.
Hey, that's your own problem. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went interesting. Obviously, was a very tense start with mid Vegeta versus base Vegeta. It was kind of whoever got it rolling. Tech plus 2 starts are pretty coin flip like that, and both these characters have shown to just throw out some big haymakers, and they both have pretty good use of B2s while fighting as well. So it was kind of just, you know, whoever hit more combos and could mix in some B2s as well, and ended up being Vegito, who also did a clutch tag to allow him to come in later and deal some more damage. Lots of good stuff from Earth Defenders. Obviously, pretty much everybody kind of did what they're supposed to do except Mid Goku, but Mid Goku unfortunately drew the short card of dealing with Hercule. So no matter what you say, dealing with like 10k 2-bar present bombs that interrupt your action are very obnoxious, and of course, Mid Goku being someone who needs his space to get his big damage off struggled quite heavily. So unfortunately for him, it was maybe not a fun time, though we did get to see, as said, the rare and base sent Goku ult, which he is banned from Savior for that reason, because it's a cutscene ult, and Midoriya tried to hit him before, but it was really his only counter to that situation outside of just getting lucky with the dodge, so kind of clutch from him to use it there. Definitely a highlight of the match. But yeah, I wonder if we'll see more Kui, if this was just a test showing, just to say we used him. Like, you know, a lot's up in the air. I know they felt really confident with bringing Kui, and then when they got Vegito, it became, okay, well, we have 3 characters that use Attack Plus now, with Kui, Supreme Kai, and Vegito, who are going to be the 2 that are in using it. So I would expect to see some rotations. Didn't really see any testing on Grandpa Gohan, so, but to be fair, they also have some new tools with the base end Goku and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what both these teams have to offer. Obviously, Derp had a pretty decent preseason, which people are very happy about coming into this next season as well.
Derp just being such a beloved team. Yeah, and then, yeah, it's really just a toss-up seeing who's going to be in between Vegito, Kui, and Supreme Kai. Honestly, I think it's more of a Kui or Supreme Kai, because I think Vegito will be in this entire season. But you never know. With that, shall we get moving?
I guess so.
Yes.
Alright, going on to match 6 here, we got Cold and Budokai. One of the main takeaways from this match is Monster Zarbon did not have his blue. Because both him and Broly had the same attack plus 2 blue Potara, and it just got randomized off of Zarbon instead of Broly. Broly doing 15k damage to himself, basically just wanting to be out of the match really quickly, even though he was, I believe, against Kid Goku. Monster Zarbon actually doing decent damage to Kid Goku even without blue, because grab plus master throw and Goku's innate defense -2 just helps so much. Yeah, this match really gets down to who can spam more or who can take out Nam. With Cooler doing what he could, Nam taking out Cooler and Zarbon, and as soon as 100% Frieza come in, gets one of the rare Nam ults, and 100% Frieza takes out Nam, but is only alive long enough for Android 18 to do near the 7k HP bar. So honestly, fun match. It's fun to watch. BroBot, what was your favorite moments about this match?
This match was interesting because of the attack plus 2 mix-up. It seems like even without it, Zarbon did pretty well. I mean, of course, not optimal, but without the blue Potara, which is a big part of building, he still did 27k. And I think Budokai did really well. Their team is shaping up to be one of those, like, everyone's kind of solid, everyone can do 40k kinds of teams, which they were last season as well with the 3 Gokus. I think Cold has a lot of potential though. 100% Frieza didn't show up like I thought he would because usually he's the guy who does like massive damage along with Cooler. So hopefully he gets his stuff together. But I think both these teams are in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, but at least the Coordinates 100% Frieza doesn't help when you come in, you instantly get ulted.
That is true. That does not help.
Yeah, I think Nail from earlier can attest to that. But
yeah.
DoorGuard, what do you think about this match here?
I have to say, this is a great showing of Budokai's prowess in being a North Kai team. I know they would not say it themselves, but they were looking like they were in a decent deficit because base Broly, was starting it off and making it. Or was it base Broly who started? I guess it was Monster Sarban into base Broly. They both were looking kind of rough, but Cooler looked like he was completely turned it around, and then they pulled it back. So it just goes to show sometimes you can, even when an opponent's trying to go elite, they at least have the ability to kind of shut it down and, do their own return near elite with Nom. So obviously more of a... seemed almost more like you could have just put Cooler versus Nom, and that decided the match more than anything here, because there's lots of other stuff. Though Android 18 did have a rest in peace stats due to just not having much to do, but we saw a glimpse of why 100% Freeze is probably going to be a more terrifying creature with his ult spam nonsense, since it does so much damage, even with some super minus, and just being able to do it over and over again with his max power mode. And obviously Cooler had like 3 or 4 ults thrown out, in which he connected with like 2 of them just to destroy Tau on its own. Shows that they have some very scary burst. And I would argue King Cold is definitely a strong character for them. Obviously Zarbon missing his blue Patara, who certainly hurt him more than it helped him. And while I do think it's a little unfortunate, it is just kind of one of those things that'll happen. With doing build submissions, because it happened on Budokai as well. I think they had 3 light bodies, so it's not like both teams are over here playing this perfectly. There were certainly lots of issues that have happened.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be how it goes from time to time. And you could say you could also see it as there will be times where they just straight up do what's it called? Where you'll see boosts. So like Patara differences just happen.
Yep.
But I would say that, might have seen a little more out of Zarbon. Obviously, if he had the correct thing, his grabs would be closer to 6k than 4k, because he does have great master throw usability, and there's just all kinds of nonsense like that missed out today. But it is preseason. It's a great time to have mistakes like that happen and to try out other stuff. So I think they were just trying some more risks, and maybe it didn't return. Budokai played it a little closer to home, taking a little more like how it might be during the season. So, it'll be interesting. I think both teams showed some sparks of why they're going to be. I mean, obviously for me and BroBot, we see here why Budokai deserves to be in North Kai. But at the same time, we can also see where Cold Kingdom is starting to really push the boundaries of their ceiling, which may have been, one that's been harder to see after last season, kind of having some more flip-flop performances. So will be interesting. I wish the best of luck to Cold Kingdom here and getting their builds down, and obviously I'm preparing for Budokai every week.
Yep. Alright, with that, shall we get moving on to the second to last match here?
The best match of the card. I'd be happy to move on.
This one was kind of a slog.
Honestly surprised it didn't go the other way. But here we have
Same.
Here we have match 7, Muscle versus Android, with Android 16 and Bojack to start. Bojack on the old Gohan FA build, which is the attack, and his melee build, but whether it's quite coincidentally with some of these melee characters, they tend to spam more than actually wanting to melee. And then Super 17 coming in, finishing Bojack, and then we actually get to see a quick fire Raccoon Ultra Deadly Bomber. We can get to that later. And then Android 17 is the one that surprised me the most this match, because even though he was on a 6-point build, he still managed to do nearly 90k. Man, that man is terrifying. There's a reason I put that GIF there. But comes down to Android 13 and Broly both nearly at like the 1 to 2 bar versus Perfect Cell, and for the tag game they almost win, but Perfect Cell is just barely able to finish them off before going down himself. BroBot, what do you think about your match here and your boy Android 17 versus Muscle?
I'm happy with some parts of this match, not happy with other parts. I think the 16 versus Bojack matchup was surprising. I did not expect that build, nor Bojack to come out first. It seems he's doing well on it though, obviously. He was a champion on that build. But Grateful 16 tagged into Super 17, who unfortunately could not show his potential. He threw out the B2s, but just couldn't connect them against Raccoon. And 17, biggest back in the league, carries us all the time. Lots of B2s, just a dominant force on our team, and happy to have him. And then Cell with the cleanup, 17k, but I don't really mind. A W's a W. I think a big factor for us winning was Trunks not being in. He's a scary, scary character. So, yeah, I'm happy with how this turned out.
I also think one part of Super 17 not doing well is that he lost 3 out of 3 clashes.
Yeah, I try to repress that memory, but thanks for bringing it up. It hurt, to say the least. It hurt.
Yeah, but good thing Android 17's used to carrying things on his back because he has to fight poachers all day. But
you would think it'd be Super 17 since he's so much bigger, but no.
Nope.
All he needs is the regular one.
DoorGuard, what did you think about Android's match here?
Well, I think it just came down to getting good or bad matchups, and there were just good and bad ones for both sides that kind of let minor breaks in the tension go one way or the other. But overall, Androids just kind of held it down a little better. Obviously, missing their star player 19 meant that they always had like a hill to climb for this match, but at the same time, Muscle was missing arguably one of the powerhouses of the league in Future Trunks or Adult Trunks. So he is a very strong member, and they still have a lot. Obviously, this week was just another week of them doing some, they have a couple characters that are holding down most of their Pataras. I think 13 is the only one that's shown up with the same Pataras like every week. Raccoon's usually got one moved around. Obviously, Broly and Bojack on them was completely new builds, at least in terms of when you look at what they've done this preseason comparatively. So, just interesting kind of. One side definitely taking more of a test than the other. Android certainly coming out and just trying to show what they can do and stumbling a little, but Muscle coming out with just showing off more of their flexibility that they're known for and what scares people. So both teams are going to have an interesting week 1. I think this was, it's not me trying to talk bad at Androids, but I don't think you guys were expecting to stumble as much as you did in this match. I think if 17 didn't pop off like you did, we'd be hearing a little bit more nervousness in the chat. But
oh yes,
doing well, because it was definitely not like the start you were expecting. 16
versus Bojack on that build, no way. Didn't even
16,
expect Bojack to do that.
Pretty sure
16 struggled very well, and if he didn't tag, would not have had nearly as successful of a match as he had. At the same time, Super 17 struggled to finish where it started. And even Cell, when he came in at the end and only had like a little bit to do, like he took half his health almost just trying to finish it up. So it's just one of those like Muscle came out fighting but experimental, where you guys came out a little more on what you were planning to hit the season with. So you could definitely feel more tension on the side of Androids when you step back.
Yeah, we have a lot of trouble with Muscle in particular. They are a tough team for us to beat, usually.
Pretty sure you guys expected either Trunks or Broly to start, and honestly, near the end, Broly or 13 could have transformed and swayed the match against Cell.
It was a possibility, for sure.
And the only character you can be certain they're not going to start as Chi-Chi. So you
You're
kind of have to
right,
be
you're
ready
right.
for anything, and it's why it's almost
You never know that
impossible.
wild card week 15 Chi-Chi might, make an appearance.
Yeah, yeah.
You never
She's
know.
just going to get a buff form, but it's the most buff out of everyone. Get like
Yes.
4 elites.
It's actually just buff Sangaya.
Yeah, Chi just transforms to
Okay.
buff Zengai, and Guy is now a muscle character.
Some people would be very happy about that.
With that, shall we get moving on to the last match here?
Yes.
Alright. Moving on to the last match, we got GT versus Resurrected Warriors. Leading off very well with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta versus Ader. Ader and Vegeta just kinda going even. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. But and then Tapion comes in, does his 40k. Finn comes in, does nearly his 40k, and then honestly the match caught my eye more when early Goku came in, did nearly 90k, just showing the threat of the early Goku. And I am honestly scared to resurrect Warriors, especially since they're in my Kai. But with early Goku taking out, I think, almost 3 characters worth, causes Resurrected Warriors to be the only one with a 4-0 for the preseason. So, BroBot, what you think about this match?
It's a shame to see GT struggle a lot so far, but it is nice to see Ader do well, even if he's not on my team anymore. RW's looking really stacked this season. A lot of good characters, a lot of strong performances out of them. Ader going even with Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, who's usually one of the melee monsters of the league, is nice to see. And poor GT Goku, not doing too well, not doing too hot. Early Goku though, did not expect him to go from like a 20k character to being one of the scarier people in the entire league now. So that's interesting.
To being near elite a few times.
Yeah, right. That's fun for everybody else. That's not RW. What do you think, Dor?
And it was, I believe it was Sin and Ader starting off, so I think a lot of people collectively groan when you see 2 kind of walls lining up, and you're just like, all right, well, something's gonna happen eventually. And I think they were extremely even. Obviously, the tag by Ader was very important because he came in to kind of end the match without much else going on. Obviously the standout early Goku, but GT Goku is, after all, a Goku, and while you will have one that pops off, there's usually one that suffers, and being on a Super +2 build means he's kind of like either, hit his nuke, or it's very sad. And unfortunately, this was a week where it was very sad. I don't think there's much that can be done when you have a character that needs to... I mean, it happened with me. You look at my match, Kid Buu did about the same. He also came in, was supposed to throw a big ult and follow up, and sometimes all they do is come in, throw B2, and then that's it. You just kind of have to be sad about it and just go on with the match. And that was unfortunately just a hard way to come back, because Pan has natural defense minuses, which means if she doesn't start her Pan loops, just like Videl's Videl loops, then you kind of feel kind of bad, because all of a sudden now you have a character who's definitely not going to be feeling too good taking the hits. Yeah, so just kind of a hard time. I think GT still had some good showings. Obviously, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta put in his shift, and as said, Shin threw in his shift, and Shin really doesn't have any damage in his build. He's basically just defense and healing, so he doing his shift pretty consistently this preseason with a no damage boost is always good to see. Very hyped. It's obviously first season for Omega Shenron to be available. So, that's just something completely different that'll be going on. And I'm happy to see what will happen with all that. I'm hoping that, just both teams kind of step up. Obviously, Resurrected Warriors has almost a new squad with the addition of Maju, changing forms on base Vegeta, the loan for early Goku, Getting Yajirobe means they really only have Vegeta and Ader returning, and that's 3 new characters on top and a free agent. So they're actually going to be very hard to predict. Whereas GT, being a newer team, really only has 1 season under their belt, and they've had changes this offseason, such as GT Goku in Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and obviously can't fuse anymore. That's been turned off due to that form being just absolutely way too busted and hard to manage right now in terms of modding. So it's just one of those. GT Goku, we can actually see go up to Super Saiyan 4 if they wish, or as we see right now, he's in base. But if he gets like 3 blast stocks, he can go straight to 4. So it's, we'll certainly see it once or twice this season, I'm pretty sure.
The loan to for Baby, for Pilaf, and then the Python FA.
Yeah, obviously those are big factors as well. PyCon not even being in this week is pretty big. Obviously had pretty stellar preseason so far, and I don't even think we've really seen him hard pop off per se as much as just kind of put in his shift. So there's a lot of variability in how both teams are going to be performing this week or this season, and it's just going to be what happens. Will be interesting to follow their journeys, as they both are going to have pretty expansive ones, and not even just right now, it's just in general. They're both much newer teams to the league and have a lot more discovering to do for getting their teams kind of core set, unlike a team like Androids or whatever, or like Bujins that have kind of a core coming in and just a minor, testing on the boundaries per se.
And with that, shall we get moving on to the final part here, which is the tier list and the predictions.
My favorite part.
I guess. I don't know. What do you want to do?
Here we got the tier list and predictions here. On the left, we have the tier list for just the week itself, and on the right, we have the combination of the averages for the first 4 preseason weeks. On the
Shout
top.
out to Kid Boo. Wants to go to Goldo's cooking class.
Honestly, I think the main person no one really expected to see where they were is GT Goku, basically being down there with General Blue of all people at the 10 to 20k range.
Yeah, that's real unfortunate for GT.
I think another interesting thing to note is Majin Vegeta hasn't been pulled out yet, so he's just chilling. We haven't even seen a taste of Majin Vegeta this preseason, so predicting him for this upcoming season is going to be very, very difficult.
It's just so weird to see that line is so full of free agents, and then there he is, just Majin GG.
Majin Vegeta. He just likes hanging out with the little people, He enjoys it.
He pulled his weight too much last season. He has to take a break.
Yeah, he likes short people, see? All the shorties in one section.
But moving on to predictions here, since it's going to be the first season of the first week of the main season, there's going to be a lot of things like FA benching, stuff like that. So for round 1, we have Sentai versus Rugrats, and I think it's going to be close. But for me, I'm going to have to give it to the boys Sentai. Just their character's been looking a lot more put together, except for Saiyaman. But when they pop off, they certainly pop off. Jace just throwing out super damage. Birder basically just denying meleeers the chance of doing much. Kinyu basically being an android, and then Saiyawoman basically being like just a Videl but nuke. So I'm giving my vote to Sentai.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do I go next?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
You won.
No, it's okay.
You don't want to. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah, I'll be quiet the rest of this cast.
All right, so he's voting androids, unfortunately, which are not in the match.
No, I just want to say before I give my predictions, shout out to Fiora and the rest of the Discord. These tier lists are amazing. Always love seeing them. And join the Discord, please. It's fun having new people. Okay, for my prediction, I am going to pick Rugrats for this one. I think they're going to bring their strongest lineup, which includes Aurelie and Kid Trunks, and I think Gotenks will be in too. And I think they're going to pull out all the stops. Unfortunately for Sentai, I think that means Rugrats is going to win this one.
Yeah, if it's based on what I want to have happen, I want Sentai to win. But based on just from what I've seen, I would have to give the edge to Rugrats here. I think both teams still have very high volatility in their members, so it's not like, oh, this character's just gonna come in and do work. I think both teams have characters that are very strong, but when it comes down to it, I think there's a slightly more coordination on Rugrats coming out of preseason, but it's also hard to tell because, there's a lot of other factors that can come into play. So, I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Rugrats though I'd prefer to see Sentai win, but I'm pretty sure Rugrats have the edge coming in.
So that's 2-1 going for Rugrats. I think people want to see Sentai take over the win. Going on to match 2 here. I'm sorry, Door. But from what I've seen, I'm gonna have to give the Resurrect Warriors. They've just been such a dominant team as of late, and plus they seem to have a lot of their characters working well. I believe you still have characters like Spope and Buhan still being a bit volatile, and even Kid Buu at certain points just not hitting his mark. But I'm gonna have to give my vote to Resurrect Warriors. And Anthony, what's your vote?
I actually have a question for DoorGuard. Who is Bujin's gonna FA bench and bench for this week? I'm curious. It'll affect my decision on who I think will win.
I don't think I'm gonna run a pool this season. We'll see though.
Oh.
I don't really know how all the benching and FA and all that stuff works super well either, but at least for now, I have a pool on the FA bench.
That's fair. Do you know who's gonna get benched out for this match in particular?
Well, yeah, but I don't have to say it.
Oh, dang, gonna leave me in the dark, huh?
I can't risk it.
Even with Doors,
there's an android on the other team. You might have some bias here in the decision making or in communications.
But that's where you're wrong. Even with Doors' blatant slander, I'm going to pick Bujins. I think they have the burst damage that RW may not be able to handle. So that's my hope.
Alright.
Well, probably to the detriment of Destiny. Kid Buu is out, so your worries about Kid Buu flopping is he has 0% chance to do any damage. 100% chance to miss all his ults as well, unfortunately. But there's no worries there. I think, obviously, I'm giving it to my squad, though it's going to be very difficult. Resurrected Warriors, they obviously have a strong lineup, but they're also a very unconventional team, which can lead to positive results and sometimes a little more volatility. So it's impossible to say if, you can predict what's going to be coming out here, but can't really take it away from my team. What I can guarantee is Cinema will lose, so... all the movie characters in the match are not going to do well. I don't think a single movie character will do well in this match.
So Tapion's not going to be good.
Rip Tapion.
Yeah, Rip Tapion. But it's 2-1 going for Bujins here. We're going to get 3-0 eventually. Going on to match 3 here, we got Royals and Budokai. I'm gonna have to give it to Budokai. From what I've seen, Royals has been kind of struggling to get all their characters to be at least consistent. Though we have not seen Majin Vegeta yet, so we don't even know if he's gonna be in or not. And it could be a wild card, but I'm gonna have to give it to Budokai. Their consistency for all the characters, it's gonna basically sway my decision for that.
Personally, I have to push the Budokai agenda, so Budokai's gonna lose. No. I do think Royals will win. I think Majin Vegeta is for sure coming in. And I think, for my money, Royals has the best 5-man roster out of the entire league, so it's hard for me to choose against them in most circumstances. So, not really a Budokai. I think they're going to do bad. I just think Royals are just going to be dominant overall.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I'm just sliding it to Royals. There's nothing against Budokai. There's no anti-Budokai agenda or anything, but when you look at it as a complete fives unit, they are just looking a little too solid this season and definitely are going to be the team to be wary of. And I think that's going to come to the detriment of Budokai, who indeed are a strong team but have their outliers. So can they pull those in enough to turn this fight around? For sure. I think every team can beat any team, but got just based off, from the limited we're looking at, I would have to give it to Royals.
All right, so going 2-1 the Royals with very good reasoning for both, I guess. For match 4 here, we have Cinema versus GT. Honestly, I'm going to have to go with my team here, Cinema. But I think it's going to be think it's going to be a close one. We faced GT a lot in
To
testing.
cut you off, they have characters on their team. And we saw with Namek, if they have characters, they can 1v4. So keep that in mind when making your decision, Destiny.
Yeah, in testing, our characters have done okay against GT. Our main factors is GT Goku going to be in, and it's going to ult. And honestly, my main worry is PyCon going to be in and do another 90k performance. But let's give a bit of insight. We're going to have Garlic on the FA bench, and Turles is going to be the weekly bench for this. So, honestly, bringing in our quote-unquote strongest lineup for at least right now.
Alright.
Wow. I did not expect the Garlic FA bench, considering he was your guy last season. That just shocked me. Sorry. Personally, even with Garlic gone, I still think Cinema has a good chance to win this. They have Janemba, who is a melee monster, and Fasha, who is also a melee monster. And I think with that, they can pull it out, unfortunately, for GT.
I'm going to give it to GT purely off the fun of their high volatility. I think in this instance is more to the detriment of Cinema. Can be very difficult to predict or do or handle that per se. So I'm going to give the edge there, but I certainly would not be surprised to see Cinema win.
So 2-1 on side of Cinema, but none of the matchup go anyway, but so can all of them. Match 5 here, we got Hybrids and Derp, and as much as I love Derp, as much as I want to see them win, I'm gonna have to go with Hybrids. They have such a stronger roster of characters right now, and maybe last week between Future and Kid Go On was only fluke. So, but I'm not gonna discount Derp. They have firepower like Vegito. Hercule's always a menace to deal with, but I'm just gonna have to give it the Hybrids.
This is one of the tougher matches, in my opinion, to pick between the two. I think this is definitely a make or break moment for Derp. It all depends on if Hercule and their other members can really hold up the line. I'm gonna give it to Derp. I think Hercule's gonna B2 a lot of their characters to death, and Hybrids, even though they have strong members, I feel like there's some cohesion issues, in my opinion. But you never know. It could go the other way.
I'm going to give it to Derp just because I think they're coming in with a little harder of a lineup to deal with. I think Hybrids got maybe a little too experimental recently, and it's kind of, at least from an outsider looking in, obviously they could have set builds for everybody, and they've been doing the experimenting to hide them, or reason A, B, C, or D. But if I have to make a prediction just looking at what lineups potentially could be coming in, obviously being first week being they could have anybody in, I would have to give the slight edge to Derp because I think they have some very powerful members doing very powerful things right now. And I don't really see a hard weak spot for them per se. Maybe characters that aren't going to pop off as hard, but certainly no characters that are oh man, if that character's in, they're just going to have a hard time. So I think they certainly have a decent time coming in.
Alright, so got a 2-1 for Derp here. Moving on to match 5. Bubba, I do have a question before I make my decision here. Who's going to be
Yes,
the FA
yes.
bench and who's going to be in, or who's going to be out for this week?
Well, here on Androids, we don't particularly like green people, so early Piccolo, you're on the FA bench, and Cell is going to be our bench for this match.
Wow, just going off on them. I see.
Yeah, it's a hateful week for Androids, but 19's in, so we're taking off our limiters and we're going in full strong style.
I don't know, maybe. No, but in all seriousness, in my opinion, I'm gonna have to give this to ED. Their characters have been, even though Androids is coming in with one of the better lineups, ED's just been looking like such a dominant force since they got Goku. Mid Vegeta's looking back on his stride. Mid Goku probably just had a fluke last week. Krillin's been looking good. Tien, we finally got to see him, and he looked really decent. And Goku, of course, still has that elite under his belt. Just been doing a lot on every week, and you know, maybe we might even see the Grandpa go on FA. Though I highly doubt it. I'm gonna have to give my vote to ED. BroBot, go ahead.
My 30-minute spiel about androids. Where to begin? No.
I'd like to keep this under 2 hours, please.
Yes. I don't blame you for picking ED. They're a very strong team. And normally if I weren't androids, I might pick ED. But I think the map is going to play a big factor, especially since we have two androids who can absorb B2s, and a lot of their B2s are Kamehamehas, which can be absorbed. And I think even with Cell gone, we have a decent chance of winning just based off that fact. So I'm going to pick us, androids.
I'm gonna give the edge to ED. I think androids have been struggling with some characters consistency, and ED is kind of team consistent. You know, there are other teams that you could say that for as well, but I would say when it comes down to looking at, especially after the preseason, pretty much every character on their squad looks to be able to do what they need to do. So it'll be a hard fight. I think both these teams are gonna come out swinging, so it'll be interesting to see. But I don't think either team has like a weak bench per se. So it'll be interesting to see how, you know, the match turns out, what ults land, what characters do what they need to do, and what Pataras get screwed up in the build submission.
0 on our side. Don't worry about that one.
I don't know, maybe you might have Android 17 on like a 5-point build this time.
How ye of little faith. Don't you worry.
Or you might have someone on a Halo build.
That's for when we fight the real, you know, lamos of the league, the cinemas and boojins. That's when we'll throw the halos on, you know.
Oh, so now these are fighting words. But no. It's all seriousness. Going 2-1 side ED. And for match 7 here we have Kaiju versus Muscle, and I'm gonna be honest, even though Muscle is a strong team, no discredit to them, they do end up switching their builds almost a lot, and I think it honestly depends on whether Trunks and Broly are in, whether Trunks is just in instead of Broly, whether Broly's in instead of Trunks. But I'm gonna have to give my vote here to Kaiju. With a lot of their roster, they've been just looking mainly consistent, and their FA has been looking really good as of recent. So I'm gonna have to give this one to Kaiju, but no discredit to Muscle, they have a lot of stuff in their pocket they could pull through.
This is definitely, it feels like my heart says Kaiju, but my mind thinks Muscle has a chance still. I'm just gonna go Kaiju. No real reason. I think, you know, Muscle, they were a strong team. I think they've gotten weaker over the nerfs and some other things that occurred this season. So yeah, I'm just gonna go Kaiju. Just throw it out there.
This is kind of a toss-up. I think both teams have a lot of good things going for them, and they also both have some weak spots that can be exploited by one side or the other, so it'll be very close coming down to it. But I think I'll give Muscle a slight edge even post nerf. I think they are they're just a very difficult team, and I think Kaiju, at least when I've been talking with them, I've certainly still had a lot of frustrations with their characters' consistency, or even just getting to do what their build is meant to do. So we will see.
So we got a 2-1 to Kaiju, but Muscle ain't no slouch. They're gonna bring a fight. Going on to the last match here before we end off this cast. Namek and Cold. I think this one is another toss-up, considering how last week Namek had that very, very good tag game. I would want to give it to Namek, but Cold, they just have so much like burst firepower with Cooler, Mecha at 100% Frieza, while also having the melee of Zarbon, Base Broly, and Cold. But I'm going to have to give it to Namek, but just the slight edge, because late Piccolo probably might be coming back in. Nuova has seemed to be able to handle his own burst damage, and you never know, maybe another Blue Pitar could be missing from another one of Cold's characters. But I'm still gonna have to just give the slight edge to Namek. Cold will be bringing them a tough fight, in my opinion.
I'm gonna give it a Cold. I think they're bringing the trifecta of spam with Cooler and his two Frieza brothers, and I think those three on their own, on their best day, can take out most of the league. Just the Savior, ult spam, B1, into more ults. It's just a disgusting combo that all three of them share, and all three of them are really good at using it. So I think Cold has this. It's too much burst damage on their side, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'll throw my ring on the Namek poll. I think Cold's certainly going to bring a good fight, as said, but I don't know, something about Namek coming out whenever they get a little bit of kind of with the ball rolling and such, it can be quite difficult. Obviously, people remember they had an immensely, like record-breaking start to last season, just about. So, wouldn't be surprising to see them starting off strong here, since they tend to have very good builds going in. It's just their adaptability as the season goes on has been what has hit them. So we'll see. I'm going to give my vote, though, to the Green Boys.
So we got 2-1 side Namek, but no slouch on Cold. But with that, we've come to the end of the cast. Make sure to check out the Discord. Promise we don't bite. We may joke around, but we don't bite. Check out the Discord below, the website below, where you can see like a lot of the Pataras, teams, rules down below. We also have Twitter. That will all be below in the description. But with that, I am your host, Destiny.
I am your co-host, DoorGuard.
And I'm the most special guest, BroBot Anthony.
And we will be seeing you next time.